Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be looking at Holiday, Viola, and Vivillon, and seeing how strong the sync pair is, and what type of abilities that she has. So she's going to be dropping tomorrow alongside the new Holiday story event focused on the Shining Shot. It's going to be debuting her Holiday outfit as well as Sycamore's 2 days later, and she's actually the second new unit of the month despite us being almost halfway through December and pretty much almost being through half of the December data mine as well. So very interesting, honestly, that they're only giving us 4 new sync pairs, which I'm very, very grateful for sure, because I'm going to expect January to be a pretty powerful month. Despite 2 of these new sync pairs being master fairs and all of the new units being limited, I still do think only having 4 new sync pairs as well as far fewer new sync pair scouts is pretty insane. But anyway, this is about Viola here, so let's go ahead and look at her abilities. Just to preface a little bit, I do think that she is probably more equivalent to a special version of Special Costume Ingo. So if you're looking for a Bug Zone unit that is strong, hard-hitting and whatever, you're not going to probably find that with Viola, though I do think you can still find a lot of great use out of her, especially her being more special-oriented. Anyway, let's look at her abilities. So she is a field sync pair with the Tech EX roll. Of course, she is a bug character, and she's able to set Bug Zone. So being able to set it with her EX roll as well as with Bug Wish here, very strong, right? So she can do it multiple times, she can extend it, she can do a lot. And that's definitely very, very nice. As we know, she's going to be dropping on the 12th, leaving on December 30th. We will have the January data mine by that point, so if you do want to summon for this character, but you're unsure of, maybe going for a Rosa, or you want to wait for the data mine, definitely far better to do that, because obviously we do have the data mine before she leaves. So you'll be just fine in that aspect. Looking at her stats, she has 677 health, 167 in both bulk stats, 332 speed, 395 special attack. Overall, I'd say those are fine stats. The bulk's probably average on the lower end for a field character, maybe, but her special attack is definitely quite good, and her speed is a good speed tier as well, so not bad. Looking at her moves, as we know, she has Bug Wish, so she can set Bug Zone. Combine that with the Field EX roll, and you've got a lot of different opportunities to set Bug Zone with her. She has Struggle Bug, which hits all enemies and debuffs special attack by 1. Her big utility is partially with Struggle Bug here. Being able to debuff special attack is nice. And she has Getting in Focus, her trainer move, which targets a single ally and raises an ally's special attack and crit by 2. So she has a lot of potential for support. This is a slightly better version of Field Victor's trainer move, where his trainer move is able to buff special attack and crit by special attack by 2 and crit by 1. This is able to buff crit by 2, so she can max an ally's crit as well as give them +4 special attack, which is very, very good. And of course, she can also use that on herself if needed. So you've got some very solid options for what to do with it. And then her buddy move here, Frozen Butterfly, Stun Spore, 1 use, hits all enemies, and is a sure hit move. Activation condition is when the field of play is a Bug Zone, so very easy to activate as well. It never misses, it leaves the target paralyzed, and leaves the target confused, and lowers the target's attack, defense, special defense, speed, accuracy, and evasion by 1. So she debuffs every core stat by 1, which we'll go into that being crazy a little bit later. As well as obviously being able to leave the enemy paralyzed and confused. So that's very, very nice. She's got some good utility in activating confusion and paralysis. That'd mostly be good against the Uxie, but really it's only 1 use, so you got to be careful of that. And obviously the debuffing is the best part of it, because if you combine this character with Neo Champion Leaf, you can debuff every single stat, assuming that the enemies aren't able to buff like accuracy or evasion too quickly, because obviously Leaf's unable to debuff those. If they buff it back, then you don't have a way to debuff it, right? But still, it's pretty solid of an ability. It's not going to be anything crazy, right? It's not the most crazy thing, effect in the game, but it definitely can be quite useful, especially in conjunction with some of her other abilities. Looking at her Sync Nuke, she doesn't have any innate multipliers or anything, just a generic, 250 power. I think that's what it normally, 250 power there, as well as obviously having the Field EX roll. Looking at her passive skills, she has hit status condition opponent stat down to 9, lowering targets following stats by 2, one of the target stat ranks by 2 when the attack move is successful, and it's all of the aforementioned stats. So if you attack an enemy that is affected by status condition, then you are able to randomly debuff 1 stat rank. I don't know if, or 2 stat ranks for 1 stat. I don't know if this is going to be the same stat for all opponents or if it's a random for each opponent, but either way, it's definitely not bad, right? Because Struggle Bug is AoE, so she's able to do it AoE. She's got Bug Zone, Team Attack, Move Damage Reduction 2, reducing damage reduction, or reducing damage received when allies are taking damage in a Bug Zone. So, obviously, that's pretty solid as well, being able to just have unconditional damage reduction. It's like having the, half part of a Master Passive or something, where you've got that little bit of damage reduction. It's useful enough. It's not like the most crazy thing, but obviously this is going to be probably relatively useful for something like a Gauntlet or something, for like maybe a solo or a duo, to where you're able to reduce enemy damage. And then she's got Paralyzed Opponent Fail up 5, raising the chance that an opponent will fail due to paralysis. So she's also pretty easy to not get hit. So if you want to have a support that doesn't want to get hit, or if you want to use Viola as a support, or however it works, if you don't want to run like an actual support character or someone who requires a lot of bulk, then you can use fully abuse this Paralyzed Opponent Fail up 5 ability in order to have it so the enemies may have a higher chance of hitting themselves in paralysis. It's similar to that of quit hitting yourself or stop hitting yourself or something like that, where Confusion has the increased chance of having the enemies hit themselves, except now it's obviously with paralysis. So that's her base kit, and I wouldn't say that this is an extremely overpowered base kit, right? Debuffing is nice, Bug Zone's obviously nice, the crit support's nice, and special attack support's nice, but I do think that a lot of these 1 out of 5 abilities are good with most bug characters that you're going to be running her with, right? So if you want to look at bug damage dealers pretty much of all types, you'll see that most of them are honestly on the special side of things, at least the most notable ones. Like, obviously, Emmett is physical, but that's because he was also made alongside Ingo, and a lot of people's issues with Ingo is that he doesn't really, for one, synergize too well with bug characters, and the other problem is that he doesn't do too much damage. Viola doesn't do too much damage either, but she does synergize well with the others. If we look at Cygnus Hilbert, obviously her best thing with Cygnus Hilbert is being a special character that can obviously, for one, debuff stats, but she can also apply support to him, make it so he doesn't have to use his trainer moves or dire hit pluses as often, and he can just start using Techno Blast, Metal Sound, or something like that. Not to mention, obviously, Hilbert's multipliers are based off of special defense debuffs, which Viola can apply with her buddy move here, as well as having random chances to proc with her hit status conditioned opponent stat down 2 parameter. So you can definitely make a lot of good use of her with Cygnus to Hilbert. Is it probably the best thing to do? Maybe, maybe not. But also do consider that Hilbert can lower bug rebuff, but that is for super effective, but still, it's something. So do keep that in mind. One of her best partners, probably her best upgraded partner, is probably Alder, because Alder's best thing is that he requires special attack debuffs with Overpower and Devastation. He can apply them himself, but obviously that means you would be missing out on Hyper Beam damage. Viola is able to apply those with Struggle Bug and her trainer move, and again, the same parameter up here, as well as apply support for his special attack and crit, so you can, again, just not have to worry about, going and using training moves, stalling out turns that you could be using for damage. So she's able to quickly apply a lot of damage to Alder, as well as give him Bug Wish and Bug Zone and whatnot. So she's definitely a great partner for him. Lusamine, I would say, similar case as well. Debuffing potential defensive stats for her, not to activate multipliers, but just for her to do more damage, because let's be honest, Lusamine sucks. But also being able to apply support with her for crit and special attack, helping out her Bug Buzz damage, as well as her Sync move damage, and all of that. So again, good partner for these special attacking bug characters. I don't know if you'll be able to say the same about Berg. Probably, yeah, actually. Yeah, you could probably say the same thing about Berg, because she does apply the good support for him. Berg's biggest problem, in my opinion, is that he didn't really synergize too well with a lot of his partners. I mean, he wants Stun, he kind of wants Bug Zone, he needs support, but thankfully, Viola is able to apply a lot of that. He also wants special defense debuffs, which she can potentially apply as well. So actually, pretty damn good partner for Berg, especially after his grid expansion. So very, very nice, right? So she definitely helps out a lot of the more notable / stronger bug damage dealers. Obviously, the ones she doesn't help out are probably going to be Nolan, because Nolan is a more physically attacking character, or physical attacking base character, but she is also able to debuff special attack, which I don't know if that even matters, because I don't know why he has Struggle Bug. I forget half of his kit, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know why he's got Struggle Bug. Anyway, I guess just for an AoE move, I guess. But whatever, either way, she doesn't really help him out that much. She doesn't really help out Guzma too much. Guzma, sorry. She doesn't really help him out either, because he's, again, more of a physical attacking character. I would say Ingo's probably a better partner for him in general. I could be wrong, but still. The normal Viola, honestly, they probably do work together relatively well as partners. But obviously this is still normal Viola, so I wouldn't bank on it too much. And then Nolan and Bugsy are more physically attacking characters, so I still wouldn't say that they work too well with this holiday Viola, but still, the most notable bug character. She definitely helps out quite a lot. And again, at 1 out of 5, a lot of her big utility is her debuffing, bug zone setting, her support abilities, and as well as the damage reduction stuff, and I guess paralyze the raise chances, I guess. So those are probably her best abilities at 1 out of 5, but at 3 out of 5, or with dupes rather, she does gain quite a bit more. 1 out of 5, again, she doesn't really have too much. She's got haste. 2 out of 5, she gets stop hitting yourself 5 for an increased chance of enemies hitting themselves in confusion, which is definitely very, very nice, because you obviously do have the ability here to leave enemy paralyzed and confused, so now you've got the other half of that. Train move NPR, this is pretty solid if you want to max an ally's special attack or her special attack or whatever. Definitely not too bad. Sync move on opponent paralyzed, leaving enemies paralyzed, or the target enemy paralyzed when attacking that opponent. So if you somehow need to paralyze the enemy again, maybe like obviously this could wear out in a legendary gauntlet or something where the enemy bar refreshes, you could then hit them with paralysis again, which isn't too bad. Insect acceleration, insect power, insect healing, paralysis energy 5, healthy healing, and fail forward. I'd say healthy healing is probably, and insect healing are probably the most notable things there. Mostly just, again, in a gauntlet scenario, that's pretty much it. But I would say that all these other abilities aren't that useful. Paralysis energy 5, yeah. Struggle Bug's going to be hitting for a lot of damage, right? Nah, I'd say that her best abilities here at 2 out of 5 are probably these, and this one's more niche for the gauntlet, and this one is more niche as well, but it's more so for her just not taking hits, I would say. Obviously, the best thing she gains is going to be at 3 out of 5, where she gains Grand Entry 2, Power Play, Sync Nodes, of course, Paralyzed Opponent Team moves up 2, Soften Up, Shocking Slowdown, Static Shock, not Paralysis Energy, Bug NPR, and Head Start 1. So she gets Power Play, which is obviously the innate nuke of having enemy stats debuffed, 120% total multiplier with 18 debuffs. Not very hard to activate considering she debuffs, what is this, 2, 4, good night, 2, 4, 6, 7 stats down just at once, as well as being able to debuff special attack to -6, so that is what, an extra -12 already. And then obviously you can debuff random stats like this. It's not difficult for her to activate her Power Play relatively quickly. Obviously, you'd probably still want to run her with a partner that can do it, though. Grand Entry 2 for self-sufficiency and special attack buffing. I wouldn't really pick it up, but it, again, is just for self-sufficiency. Making it so you don't have to really worry about going for Train Move NPR in order to max out her stats. Sync Nodes, again, for just nuking power. Paralyzed opponent team moves up 2, powering up any ally moves by 20% when attacking a paralyzed opponent. This kind of goes hand in hand with her Bug Zone damage reduction passive skill here, to where it's kind of, again, like a master passive, where you get that 20% power up here and the 20% damage reduction here. So it's kind of like a miniature, crappier master passive in that sense. But still, powering up ally moves is definitely nice, especially considering it helps out her supporting role, because she does obviously do more of supporting slash disruption-based abilities more than actually damage the enemy, which she can do, again, with Power Play, right? Power Play is going to be pretty good. Tech EX roll giving her extra stats alongside the 6-star EX. She's going to be hitting for a pretty solid nuke, right? But even without that, I think that her debuffing ability is definitely nice. Saying Bug Zone and then having damage reduction and team power-up abilities are more what's useful for her. It's kind of, I think it would be the same thing for like Fall Roxanne, right? Where a lot of her abilities were more fun and useful as utility than obviously going for her damage-based stuff. Just in my opinion. Soften Up 1 for easier crits on the sync move, not bad. Shocking Slowdown 9, 100% chance to lower enemy speed when attacking a paralyzed opponent. So now you can not only debuff random stats as well as all stats by 1 in special attack, but now you can debuff speed consistently as well. So she's got even more debuff potential, which is definitely very good for activating her Power Play even quicker. She's got Static Shock 5 for another 50% multiplier on the sync nuke. Obviously, still very, very good so far. Bugwish NPR if you want extra Bug Zone. Probably not going to need it, but again, maybe for a solo or something, having more Bug Zone would be useful. I don't know. And then Head Start 1 for Sync Countdown. Pretty solid if you want to run like Head Start 1 as a lucky skill, get Sync Ramping, etc. But yeah, I would say that's probably the best total overview for Viola's capabilities and grid. You can obviously run a lot of different things for her. I would have to figure out what's probably best here. I'm not too sure. I don't know if you can pick up everything everything you would possibly want. In this setup, you can pick up this Shocking Slowdown 9 here. This can make it so it's easier to activate Power Play, but obviously you can't get the one sync node. I would say it's honestly not worth sacrificing Shocking Slowdown for this sync node. I don't think it's worth it, but you could if you really wanted to or something. I probably wouldn't. I think the Shocking Slowdown is too valuable in helping to activate Power Play by herself. So if you want to go for a nuking grid, there is this. But obviously, if you don't care for a nuking grid and you just want to go for full utility, obviously it would depend on the type of utility that you want, right? I think going for the Paralyzed Opponent Team's damage move ability here would be pretty good. Obviously, going for Head Start 1 as well as Gauge Acceleration or something would be nice. Could be nice as well. Going for, I don't know, Stop Hitting Yourself for, you know, extra confusion chances. Maybe Turn Move NPR if you really want to do some support stuff. Really just depends on what you want, but she's got a lot of different good abilities in her grid that can be solid depending on your strategies. Obviously, I think a lot of these characters are more unconventional, not really the casual playstyle of, ooh, I'm a support that can buff speed, special attack, and crit to max in a single turn, as well as apply electric rebuff and a lot of healing. Yeah, I guess who I'm talking about. Or it's not like a big damage dealer, which can hit like 30 million attack stats, turn -1 or something. Definitely a character that's more brain power requiring in order to actually make full use of, because she's got a lot of good abilities that you can definitely make full use of in a lot of certain scenarios. But obviously, it's not like something. It's not something super conventional, I guess you could say, but definitely not a bad character at all. Got a lot of good abilities, especially for helping out the other bug characters she synergizes very well with, mostly referring to Signasuit Hilbert and Alder. These two are probably the single best damage-dealing bug characters in the game right now. And I would say that they're honestly probably the most worthwhile to be trying to power up, which Viola does quite well. So anyway, yeah, that is my overview for Holiday Viola and Vivillon. Let me know what you think about her down in the comments below. I don't think she's like the strongest character in the month or anything like that, obviously with Rosa and Nate especially being out. But I do think that she's got a lot of solid usability as well as a lot of potential fun, in my personal opinion, right? I think that she'd be a fun character to pick up. I'll probably be doing the 300 pay gem, you know, tier thing, whatever, the first tier of that, as well as maybe a couple daily discounts here and there to maybe try and pick her up. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know if you're going to be going for Viola down in the comments below, and I'll see you all later.